Hey internet, what's up? This is your buddy Roo and welcome back to World of Roocraft. Our little review series on World of Warcraft is still going strong, and after we talked about the human kingdom of Stormwind and the Elven Forest, I want to bring your focus back to the Horde. Today we travel to the lush green plains of Mulgore and talk a little bit about its inhabitants, the gentle giants known as Tauren. And you guessed it, before we jump into the game, it's time for another edition of Roo Explains Stuff. The Tauren are descendants of the Yongle race, giant bovine humanoids who made their home in central Kalimdor, where they lived in close ties with the demigod Cenarius. Over the years, and due to environmental influences, the Yongle either evolved into the Tonkas or Tauren. Because they spent so much time with Cenarius, Tauren feel a deep connection to druidism and shamanism. Additionally, they worship the goddess known as the Earth Mother. The Tauren also later went on to aid the forces of Azeroth against the first Burning Legion invasion. After the Great Sundering, the Tauren tribes roamed the forests and plains of Kalimdor and were particularly drawn to the region of Marsh-on-Shee. I really hope I pronounced this right. Due to the awakening of the earth elemental Teradras, the land turned barren and is later known as Desolace. Teradras also seduced Cenarius' son Syatar, and out of the union, the Centaur race was born. These Centaurs didn't like the Tauren very much. They drove the Tauren out of Desolace and forced him to spend the next centuries roaming the barren lands of Kalimdor. But things started to look up after Kain Bloodhoof had an encounter with the Orc war chief Thrall, who agreed to help the Tauren to drive back the Centaurs and claim the land of Mulgore as their own. Kain united the remaining Tauren tribes, and together they built the Tauren capital of Thunderbluff. The Tauren did not only help the forces of Azeroth to beat the Burning Legion during the Third War, they also decided to join the Horde. To this day, Tauren are known as spiritual leaders and teachers due to their deep connection to nature. And this brings us to today. Even though most of the Tauren tribes live in peace with one another, there is one tribe not really happy with Kain Bloodhoof's leadership, the Grim Totem tribe. Wrongfully thinking that Garrosh Hellscream sabotaged a peace meeting between Tauren and Night Elves, Kain challenged the war chief to a Mak-Gorah, a fight to the death for the title of war chief. Even though he was the more capable fighter, Kain lost to Garrosh and was killed by the war chief. As it later turned out, he only lost due to the Grim Totem's interference. Magartha Grim Totem, the tribe's matriarch, secretly poisoned Garrosh's weapon to help him win the fight. With the remaining Tauren tribes distracted by Kain's death, the Grim Totem seized the opportunity to overtake Thunderbluff and other major Tauren villages. Hungry for revenge, Kain's son Bane Bloodhoof rallied the remaining tribes, retook Thunderbluff, and banished the Grim Totems to the Stone Talon Mountains. Bane also became the new Tauren chieftain, and the Tauren were once again able to live in peace. And that's where your adventure starts. But before you can strap on your horns and roam Mulgore, we have to talk about the classes and race boni, of course. Tauren players are able to choose between the following classes: Druid, Hunter, Paladin, Priest, Shaman, Warrior, and Monk. The Tauren's racial abilities include a critical strike and healing bonus, an increased and sped up herbalism skill, increased stamina, a heightened resistance to nature damage, and the War Stomp ability, a spell to stun up to 5 enemies for 2 seconds. Phew, I guess that's enough explaining for now, so let's switch over to the game itself. Our adventure begins in the Red Cloud Mesa as one of the Tauren Braves. Braves are coming-of-age Tauren who have to go through a series of rites to gain the blessing of the Tauren goddess, the Earth Mother. Here we are faced with our first major problem. The Krillbot tribe is using the after effects of the Cataclysm to swarm the Red Cloud Mesa, and they are trying to transform the land to create a new home for themselves. Man, I am talking a lot about Deathwing in these videos. Our first order of business is not only to fight back the little piggies, we also have to free our braven friends and undergo the rite of bravery. To pass this rite, we have to retake rifles the Krillbot stole from us. A bipedal pig with a gun. I think I just saw everything now. We conclude our time in the Red Cloud Mesa after killing the Quillboar's leader during the Rite of Honor. To progress further, we use some magical water and transform into a birdie. This gives us a nice opportunity to get a glimpse of Mulgore before we arrive in our new stomping ground, the Bloodhoof Village. Our presence here is direly needed since new threats have arisen. A group of gnolls managed to sneak into Mulgore and they are hunting the wildlife without restraints. And that's not all. The infamous Venture Trading Company also set up camp in Mulgore and is trying to get rid of the Tauren. Their goal is to mine the land's minerals and ores without a regard to the wildlife and nature. We have an easy solution for this problem: killing their foreman. Things get a little bit more interesting as we are informed that someone poisoned the wells in Mulgore. After fashioning a cleansing totem out of animal parts, that sounds way more metal as I thought, we head to one of these wells just to learn that some of the Grim Totem Tauren returned from the Stone Talon Mountains. After exploring Mulgore a bit more and cleaning the remaining wells, we travel to Thunderbluff to inform our beloved High Chieftain Bane Bloodhoof of the situation. Together with his help, we not only manage to fight back the remaining Grim Totems, we also get some kind of revenge for his father as we slay Magatha Grim Totem's son, Orno Grim Totem. Peace finally returns to Mulgore, and in the progress, we also pass the remaining rites of the Earth Mother. After a little chat with a ghost at the Red Rock, we gain the Ancient's blessing and become an official member of the Guardians of Mulgore. With our work done here, we meet Bane for the last time and head over to Orgrimmar to further our adventure. Sadly, that's all there is to talk about the Tauren and the starting area Mulgore. As usual, there is a lot more to the Tauren and the homeland. There are more smaller quests you can do to enrich your experience. The quest about Carl the dog, for example. Do you want to do this quest? Just look at it! The doggy is dancing! He's dancing! I don't know what it is, but I really enjoyed my time with those horny giants. Maybe their shamanistic lifestyle and respect for nature remind me of the old American tribes. It didn't take too long for me to progress through Mulgore and its quest. It was interesting to see how the relation between the Grim Totem and the other tribes developed. But there are a few things I have to nag about. First of all, the sheer scale of Mulgore can make running around pretty tedious if you're not in possession of the Hyalum Mount. You also won't be able to leave Mulgore until you finish the Grim Totem questline. And maybe the worst thing of all, there is not a single mention of the war in Northrend. How am I supposed to get an Arthas reference in there? Come on game, get your shit together! And that's all I have for today. Next time we take a look at one of the oldest races in Azeroth, the Night Elves. Like always, if you enjoyed this little review, let me know by hitting the like button or leaving a comment. If you feel especially generous, consider sharing this video or subscribing to the channel. This is Roo signing off. Bye bye!